Last week, Ganon Buhr and McMahon dropped bombs on the disc golf community, announcing their new sponsors. You probably weren't able to catch them on all their media tour. Good thing I don't have a life and have the highlights right here. I'm Jefferson from the disc golf world with another episode of the Weekend Wrap-Up, recapping everything disc golf you missed from over the weekend. There was so much content posted, I felt it was only right to break down the most important moments. I mean, there's over 10 hours worth of podcasts to watch. Who has time for all that shit? Me, unfortunately. But before we jump into the video, I wanted to let those of you know that I will be attending the Northeast Disc Golf Expo on behalf of Disc Golf World. It was a last-second decision, but since this event will be making disc golf history, it only felt right for the Disc Golf World to cover it. I started my week like I do every week, tuning into Staggered Stance. For those confused, that's the Nick and Matt Show's new name. Why did they change it, you ask? Well, if you watched this episode, you would have noticed they have 5 hosts. If you like different perspectives on disc golf, you got plenty to choose from right here. You can guarantee that Nick will bring up some solid interview questions, get ready to hear about Matt's life, the newly upgraded host Ben will show you why he still needs to be the intern, Evan will drop some SportsCenter cherry pick stats, and then you got Matt's brother. All jokes, of course. Loved all the guys over there. Sorry you had to catch a stray, Josh, but you are the new guy in town. It was funny to watch Eagle and Ganon carefully answering questions regarding their contracts. Clearly, everything that can be shared has been shared. Basically, we know how long they're going to be representing each brand respectively. Some are even speculating that since their contracts weren't made public, they're getting paid less than $1 million a year. I don't subscribe to that belief, but you totally should subscribe down below. That was smooth, admit it. A big difference between the two players that was learned throughout each interview was how each handled their contracts. Eagle opted for an agency to handle his signings. And I'm sure it doesn't help being a part of Discmania for 9 years to all of a sudden ask for the money he clearly deserves. Discmania though was still an option, even going on to say if he would have bet, it would have been on him staying. But what it came down to was needing a change. Eagle explains how repetitive it gets while touring. Bringing up going to Emporia this many times is a toll on a person. I've been there twice for disc golf events, and I feel like I know the area like the back of my hand. A dynamic basket over here, some corn over there, about it. The same goes for practicing. I'm sure the reasons to go out in the field and throw are less important when you've been bagging the same disc since you were 16. It's not like Eagle was going to throw a mermaid or something. As McMahon said, he has a reason to go out and practice now. He wants to throw every disc MVP makes to find out what works best for him. This opportunity to throw a new line of discs changes the mentality of a disc golfer. I've always hated the mindset that disc golfers can just throw whatever they want and they'll be fine. No shit, they're professional athletes. A pro baseball player can hit with a wood bat. Give them a metal one and see the difference. Now, I'm not saying it's as drastic as that, but from what pros have been saying, it unlocks a new set of skills. Even Eagle said he's found new parts of his game. Ganon said the same thing too when talking about Discmania's fairway lineup. Going from what he claimed was 2 manageable fairways on Prodigy to now being hard to select only a few of Discmania's. He went on to explain that he will now have more 7 to 9 speeds to throw. This will allow him to throw these discs harder with the same results as he would powering down on his drivers. But now he can rely more on consistency and accuracy through this new confidence that solely came from the new tools available to him. Eagle went on to say the gyro technology works, as well as again reinforcing that idea that yes, pros might be able to throw whatever and have success, but some lineups are better than others. That varies from player to player, but the idea stands. On to the next 3-hour podcast. Wait, it's 4 hours? Fuck me. After trying to pry information out of the two, Terry and JVD got to more interesting subjects. And no, I'm not talking about the claim that Eagle is bad at turnovers. If Eagle told me I was wrong, I probably would listen. But hey, if that's your hill, I won't question you dying on it. But the highlight was the conversation about their own lines of discs. The speculation was Eagle was getting his own lineup at Streamline. That turned out to be false, and he dropped an even bigger bomb on all of us. He isn't getting his own line. Period. Well, at least not for now. I would bet Eagle getting his own line of discs 100 times over, but good thing you can't bet on disc golf anymore. His explanation was not wanting the additional responsibilities that came along, as well as sharing that he wanted to support his teammates' discs first instead of flooding the market with more players' discs. I respect that out of Eagle, even though we all know disc golfers would just buy more. As surprising as Eagle not getting his own lineup was, it was no surprise that Ganon was the complete opposite. We had the chance to talk to him at USDGC, and even then I could tell how excited he was about getting his own line of discs. He is a disc nerd after all. Seriously, who else out there is talking about parting lines? Ganon then went on to explain what types of discs he wants to make, the first being a putting putter, and being the best putter in the game, it only makes sense. He also mentioned an overstable approach disc or an overstable to straight mid-range. Either way, I'll be getting one of each. Comment below if you'll be getting a Ganon disc or if you're still waiting on that Eagle line to come out. Buhr also dropped that he didn't use an agent. I can only imagine Ganon in full sweats, flat brim hat on, asking for millions of dollars. Just awesome. He mentioned that there was a smaller company really trying to get him, and I can't figure out who that could be. Lone Star maybe with the oil money? House of Discs with Castoplast? You guys can keep speculating all you want. I'm going to keep believing it was Clash though. Evidence? Yeah, I don't got any of that. You're going to regret this, Ganon, kind of like how Gavin Rathbun regrets teaching Buhr about the importance of chalk. Thanks a lot, Gavin, and that's on behalf of the entire disc golf community. And here are some quick notes before heading off to another movie-length podcast. Ganon still doesn't have his license, really proving that he and Alden are a package deal. We'll see him at the European Open, which is a good sign. Shares that Ezra Robinson will win an Elite Series and did his best Cat Williams impression. Only one more 3-hour podcast to go, this time my favorite, Tour Life. I don't know, it's fun knowing that I will have a video topic just by watching clips from the podcast. Fuck Netflix and chill, I'm all about that Tour Life and pipe. Ganon went on to tell a funny story about traveling to Colorado to buy some old Discmania plastic off Eagle. With its announcement still a secret, McMahon hid all his MVP stuff. But already prepared, Ganon and the boys got him a brand new glitch as a Christmas present. But the funnier part was how they actually found out it was official. Eagle named his smart TV Prism Proton. Nice one. He also dropped the news about not making return to tour until Champions Cup. Later than we'd like to see, but not missing a major is huge. Of course, that's not stopping him from playing in the All-Star event, Lefty. Kind of funny how Eagle can say what his left-handed rating was, and everyone knew exactly what skill level he was trying to portray, without a follow-up question. Kind of like ratings aren't completely useless. Who would have thought? Ganon talked about himself as if he was a top 30 disc golfer, but in reality, he had the most wins on tour last season. I swear he makes it seem like he's awful, claiming his backhand is like a newborn giraffe. Well, he didn't say that, but it made me laugh. At least we'll get the scoop on the amount of chicken nuggets Ganon will be receiving from Discmania. I'll keep those details a secret. Ganon did make sure to set the record straight during all the off-season shenanigans, saying he was never bidding on destroyers, has been a part of the Discmania group for a minute now, and that he really just wanted to troll the community since he won't be able to do it for another 3 years. If you didn't get the chance to check out the full podcast, I definitely recommend it, because there's so much more information dropped you don't want to miss out on. Or you can keep getting it over here in 15 minutes or less. All you gotta do is subscribe. That being said, personally, I will never understand the thought of 3 hours being an adequate enough time for an episode. Usually, I have about 10 minutes worth of valuable information to relay, but for some reason, disc golf is set in their ways. You know, because we found a crazy amount of success doing what we're doing. How can you tell me the focus should be on live content when post-produced coverage dominates the market? Sure, we can stop when you realize Jomez doubles the live viewership, and that's only when it's free on YouTube. But keep telling me how uhs, ums, and buts are important for disc golf media. I'm all ears, but I'm ready to debate. You can argue the titles if you want. And I agree, they suck to do. But when YouTube only shows the video out to this many people for a title like this, but do this with a maybe clickbait title, it's a no-brainer. I'm sorry, but when someone else is dedicating their life to living in a minivan with their uncle, following the pro tour for 3 months, documenting everything they see, I'll make sure to ask how they found their success. Until then, if we want to continue to be the most consistent grassroots effort to push disc golf, we got to do it for now, as much as we hate it. But we can't go another 3 years of getting 30 views on our episodes. I know some of you will hate us, and I hope we can get past that one day. But we've talked to almost every major company in disc golf and have been turned away from each one. It seems disc golf's all about each other until it's someone new. Even the guy who says if you don't like it, go and change it, which is fine by the way. No one's entitled to work with us. But it's a weird claim to make if you weren't going to help out those when you can. Swiss gets to rant all the time, so I felt it was my turn to hopefully shed some light on some topics. Oh, and Swiss and I will be back in the minivan for the Texas swing of the tour, so see you then. But if anyone wants to help with Florida, that'd be cool. Wink, wink. I'm going to end off the video with this to drive my point home. I might just be young, but I'm going to let you know a little secret. No one gives a f*** about TV anymore. When I see the idea of getting disc golf on television is the push, I just laugh. Not because it's funny, but instead, I'm scared how people really feel that TV is the solution for disc golf's growth. You guys realize it's free to post on YouTube with unlimited potential on views at any time? But again, tell me how airing on CBS during football season is supposed to attract anyone new. If anything, you're setting up our sport for failure. and we aren't going to sit back and watch it happen. If you enjoyed, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. It's the easiest way to help the disc golf world. Oh, and if you want to hear all about living in the minivan while on tour, check out the video right here.